when we speak about prayer, at least I spoke a few times about the readiness to stand trial. The part that actually stand trial in us is our spirit. Whether she was successful in her mission, what is it her mission? To recruit the body, the will to receive to oneself, to recruit creation as a body, yeah, as to the head of the thought of creation. If she fails, then she's being purged from everything that she collected in the corporal world, meaning the disappointment, the hurt, the all, even the memory of the smell of corporality. Okay, it's very vivid for the spirit. So it means that standing in trial, it doesn't matter whether it's what we say, well, it's time for a person young, a baby. It's all to do with the ability, with the deep support for the spirit to be able to fulfill its mission. It's actually, this question is being raised by in the portion of Mishpatim, because we know that Mishpatim has to do with judgment of the spirits. It means, what actually can the spirit do if the body is saying, but I loved my master and my wife, and I want to stay slave to them? Mm-hmm. Okay. So she will give him an extension. She will try to fight back and to sort of persuade him through tribulation in corporality, through revelation, through any means and ways that she will have in order to fulfill her mission. So every time something is a life, which is to do with the spirit, is taken away, is to do with that. So we don't know. Yeah, it's to do with that. It's to do with the state of whether the spirit can, to what degree the spirit can stand its inability to fulfill the mission. So it's many times we hear even from Midrashim that God is taking the spirits before it will get rotten, or because before it will get spoiled. It's not that the spirit will get spoiled, but that there will be such a dispute and dominance of the will to receive to oneself upon the spirit. So something is saving her and giving her a new chance. So even through, so it seems, and this is how the Zohar and Ari and all the chain of true Kabbalists see death as a very important aid and support, okay, for the battle between for the battle for reformation, for tikkun olam. Okay. It seems as though it stems out of a sin, because we relate always death to the misunderstanding of, or to the sin of eating from the tree of good and evil. But this attribution is Christian. Yeah. It's nothing to do with death. Is actually the possibility of human consciousness to be reminded of its origin. So it's a savior. From the point of view of the spirit, it's a savior, death. From the point of view of the body, of the corporal life, is the reaper. Meaning it's the threat, it's the fear, actually it's the oppressor. Okay? And for the spirit, this is a new chance. This is so being refreshed with a promise and the ability to fulfill it.
So here's what doesn't make sense. And let's just start with one thing. I think I hear you saying that. I hear you saying that the distinction between the spirit and the body is the spirit has a sense of freedom, the body does not. Not
only freedom, it has eternity.
Yes.
It doesn't have limitation of time.
So why would I want to stay alive?
Because you will come to life again and again. It's like in the movies of waking up at the same day again and again till you sort it out. This is it. You come to realize that actually till you sort it out, okay, you'll come to this experiment and experience again and again, and you want to sort it out.
But you said that when someone dies young, when their spirit is taken when they're much younger, it's because potentially they had reached a certain point, and if they went further, it would be so enmeshed in the will to receive. It's hard to believe that I am 67 without a very powerful will to receive. So why am I still here? Why didn't I get taken much younger to avoid all of this, intensity of will to receive?
And this is exactly the union opposition, because there is a vested interest of the creator that you will have a very big ego and a very big, a generation will have the closest we can get to develop a very strong, very willful will to receive. So it's not a question of the. Actually, what you're asking now is a question of Farah. He's saying, okay, first, till now, we did not hear from this reformation power of human evolution. Till now, we lived very well with the will to receive to oneself, drawing light and drawing power to ourselves. And we sort of solve the issue of death through certain worships, and rituals that actually like mummifying. That it's like today, I have enough money, so I will buy a cranial process after my death, and this is why do I need actually a fulfillment or an intervention of different value or different quality of what is called bestowal? We did not hear so far about it. So why now, and why in Egypt, and why Israel is going to the slave of the slave is going to represent the leadership of humanity? Why not Egypt? Okay. First, it's a fair question. Okay? It's a fair question. So there's a difference between the growth. This is what we are saying, even about the righteous one, that 7 times he will fall. What it means he will fall? That the will to receive will grow. He will fall into a realization of what needed to be reformed, and then he will rise up. So the process of developing a will to receive is inside the plan. How we harness it, how we bring it into reformation. If there is a struggle and you're taking part of this struggle, it means that you're part of the pathfinding of what is offered in this portion. So it's different. It's not about the success. It's about not giving up the attempt. Okay. This so of course we will fall, and of course more than that, those who study witness actually the growth of their will to receive to oneself on a rapid, frightening way in many aspects. Not only they become more hungry, they become more hungry for spirituality, meaning unharnessed, and mitigated hunger. Okay, this is why so many Kabbalists fell into practicing what is called practical Kabbalah. Okay, it's very tempting. Yeah, it's tempting because you feel the power. Yeah. So death is not that we will. It's not sort of rising above and accepting, which is, let's say, the Buddhist way, and accepting death as part of a process, a never-ending process. No, death is actually to signify that there is an ending to this process of time limit, of temporality. Okay, so it's not that we know that actually in all wisdoms and in all religions, the priest always go to the place of death. Not in Judaism, because the father of actually everything that is foul, everything that is unclean, because it's not part of how it should be. It's the Jewish rebellion against how the world is. And this is why they will not send the priest or the server of sanctity to deal with death, because it's nothing to do with the quality of eternity. So it's the so the question of Pharaoh will be or to actually prove or to show him why there is special qualities in this nation of slaves that he could control so far. Why should he relinquish his dominion and his dominancy on history, on human history? It's every time that we come into study, it's a question of the will to receive to oneself, asking why I cannot understand it and do it from reason and from understanding and from feeling it. Why I always have to go above myself, above my understanding. Okay? Because we're saying, look at our technology, look of or at how I control the light, which is how Pharaoh is saying, Li Yori, the Nile is mine, or Yeor is mine. Okay? It's for me. Everything, if the creation is a creation of the will to receive to oneself, it's all for me. And more than that, it's for me to actually keep it and control it. And I made myself. I'm a self-made man through the way I use the light. And light can be knowledge, and knowledge not only of the nature of nature, mostly knowledge of the nature of humanity. This is what is even more exploited than the nature of nature or the law of nature. Okay, so the fear, and I don't have to go into it. So this is how actually every plague is opening a gate to release oneself from the grip of the pill, from the grip of klipa. But you have to choose it. You have to choose to want to go out. It's sort of, we see the gate is open. Suddenly the gate is open, okay? Or suddenly the shackles that you had on your legs are sort of opened or fell. But some parts of humanity are so used to it that they continue to walk with the feeling of it. And this is what Baal HaSulam is saying. It takes really not time to understand it, time actually to feel it in ourselves. That the servitude or the slavery that is in Egypt as a paradigm of all slavery is the extent that we believe and we give power to anything, to the idea and the people that enslave us. So actually this is to do with death as well, the idea of death. So this is what this portion speaks about, how actually we start, if so far it was the extension of the will to receive, meaning the vessels, which is called in general, the general title of creation is the will to receive to one, and the reality of it in the spiritual or in human consciousness is the will to receive to oneself. When it's been released, then there is a choice of reformation. But the time of reformation, meaning the timing is starting in the story, if you like, in the revelation at this portion. So one can say that the mediator between the utterance of that made creation possible and what we call Aseret HaDibrot, which is the release of the creator's speech. Okay, it's the utterance. Okay, what actually allows it is the 10 plagues. Okay, it's in a way the process that so the meeting point of persuading humanity that they can choose freely. They can choose good. They can choose bestowal without thinking that there will be they will be found wanted or lacking starting now. And this is why it's being told. It's that crucial. It's not crucial only for us as Israel. It's crucial for humanity. Okay? Mm-hmm. It means that if Erev Rav would not come with Israel out of Egypt, it would be a complete failure. Mm. Yeah. It needs to be that some of the nations will go out, mm-hmm. because the intention was that all Egypt, meaning all humanity, will go out. So at least representatives of all that should go out. Mm-hmm. And they're going from one womb, which is what is called Egypt, to a different womb, which is called the desert. Mm-hmm. Okay. But this is the beginning of sorting out. Okay. Sorting out perceptions. It's not because Israel were not affected by the plague, not because they were good. Mm-hmm. Not even because they were loyal to their identity. Mm-hmm. Or not because they had an identity yet, but they had a memory of a promise and the ability to have, to feel at least, or to look at what is going on as an intervention from higher. And this is what made the difference between their, let's say, the ability to be within those events and to maintain the point of looking, you can say, looking at how the Creator is acting in the world, and that in a way protected them. This point of view, which is a big clue to ourselves. So I would say that what actually saved them is something that they got from the forefathers and the mothers, definitely, maybe more from the mothers, meaning the matriarchs, that actually the only thing that can relate or connect spirituality to corporality is a prayer. The prayer that is saying, I'm willing to stand trial and I'm going to pray for the reformation of the whole world, not a private, not a private need, but something that I can sense personally that is connecting to the general need of the spirit, of all spirit. And that is being born here, because the female part, as we saw in the portion of Shmot, is the ability to prophesize what is coming, what is being born now, not in terms of the baby, but in terms of what kind of a state for humanity is being born now. Okay. So that made them in awe, and therefore it protected them from acting against that new era or a new beginning of reformation for humanity. Yeah. So now when it comes now into how actually Moses can speak to Pharaoh, meaning how this 600,000, which is the paradigm of all spirits. Israel is taking it upon itself, but it speaks about all spirits. How actually the future of that, or the claim of this spiritual state can speak to corporality. This is actually what occupied our sages. How they, they call it sacred. So what is important that he's speaking to the priest to be. He's speaking to Aaron, meaning when we speak to that is at that time is left is the family of Levi. Levi is the left side. He's talking to Levi that will become the right, meaning the future. The middle line, which is Moshe, the future middle line, is speaking to the priest that will become the right, meaning servant and a priest of the right side, okay, that is trying to find peace, meaning joining circumstance. And one can say that the conversation between Moshe and Aaron, that allows Pharaoh to actually get something from, or sort of try to sort himself to the next question, or to the power of agreeing or disagreeing. But it creates some sort of an ecology which he cannot resist. It's like we will be in a position to eardrop that's too knowledgeable, that we know. We don't know exactly who they are, but from the sense of what they are talking about, they're actually describing that something is going to change. And the first thing that I'm thinking when I listen to it is how I'm going to survive it. How I'm going to sort myself out to survive it. And this is what is happening to Pharaoh. How he's going to survive the change. What kind of claims or questions he should ask. Basically, the speech of Pharaoh is to show, it's a bit radical what I'm going to say, so I apologize. Is to say to any academic and to any atheist and to any disbeliever in the world that if you want to be a true intellectual, a true searcher for the truth, like Pharaoh is, you have to admit that the only power is belief. You will end up, if you're a true searcher, even you start as an intellectual, you'll come to this admission. It's in a way, the question of Pharaoh, the resistance, it's not flippant. He's trying to find gates every time to survive or to continue the legacy of the will to receive to oneself. Because from his standpoint of view, there's no proof that what Moshe is offering is viable. There's no evidence in history that it worked. Yeah. So why take a chance with something which is so fragile as human future? So it is an honest intellectual. The questions are real and true, and one can say that it comes to a point when he needs to admit that this probably is going to be the way, okay, and he will have to let them go, but can he go with them? I dare say that chasing Israel is in a bit like wishing to join the trend that you know you will never catch up. Okay, so in a way, it's this narrative is so close to us in our generation. It's close. It's so close. It's close to uncomfortability. To cause uncomfortability. So this. So I wish that we will be able to sort of acquire the acumen. The acumen of the Zohar in the way that we view the dispute that is happening today in us and in all humanity, of having to choose, coming to a cul-de-sac and having to choose. Okay. So it's not coming from sort of a cover, a childish cover from reality, but it's actually coming from choice, of knowing that that this is the right way to choose life.